talking with Todd this morning, and what Todd has done is very common. It's very you don't want to say it's everybody does it, but an awful lot of folks when when the kids are, and this is from uh, back in the early 2000s. They wanted to buy a rental property and this and that, and mom and dad signed off on the mortgage. Now Todd has made all the payments. He's since been divorced and he paid off his ex-wife, so everybody's good. And but now the title, the deed on the property is to Todd and to mom and dad. And back in the day when mom and dad did this, it was 20 years ago, and they were in their 60s. Well, now they're in their 80s, still active, still vibrant. But in the 80s is when people when the it happens in the 60s and 70s too, but in the 80s is when the need for long-term care really ramps up, and the need for Medicaid, because it's so expensive, ramps up as well. So the question is, and Todd is being right on, very proactive about this. He says, "Hey, wait a second, mom and dad are getting a little long in the tooth there, and what's the story with having them on the deed?" Um, am I summing up accurately there, Todd?
Yeah, that's accurate. It was, I think, around 2003 was when we started this endeavor with the rental properties. It was 4 houses. It's down to 1 with the property. I had to sell some for the divorce and pay that off, but it's worth quite a bit now, and I've paid it off out of my retirement fund, and it's drawn a little income, but I can see the problems coming.
Right. So you got two. Right now, we're still in the I've got some time, I don't know how much. Okay, so when we're in the I've got some time, I don't know how much, my first reaction, or my first recourse, and they're off the mortgage now because there's no more mortgage, so that's all good. But my first thing is a 5-year divestment plan. And this is, see, the thing is, if you give stuff away for Medicaid, if you give stuff away, they care for 5 years, it matters, but after 5 years, doesn't matter anymore. Okay. You need to get that clock started. So right now, we've done about 20,000 or so trusts for regular folks like you, like your parents, where when we and it's not the typical trust. Okay. Trusts come in all varieties. Okay. The particular kind of trust that we're doing divests the property for Medicaid purposes. It starts the 5-year clock. So 5 years after you put the stuff, and in this case, it would be to take your parents off and put the house, the rental property, into, we call it a protection trust or a root cellar trust because it's protected from the bad stuff. Anyway, we put it in that trust. 5 years later, Medicaid doesn't care. It will care for 5 years, right? And I would do the same for your parents' house and whatever other property, the 40 acres that they have. You do the same thing. We've seen all kinds of, shifts and back and forth with how much land can you have? Is it a house? Is it a farm? You can't keep the farm, but you can keep the house. But maybe the acreage is a homestead. Right now, it's not so bad, right? But it has been. They've pulled stuff on us, right, before. So when you divest it, when you get this 5-year thing going, at the end of it, man, you're just clean and green. They can't do anything about it because it's federal law, it's all that. So for your parents, they should get the 5-year thing underway, and this will protect you as well, because right now they own 2/3. Let's say it's a $300,000 property, let's just say, okay? As far as Medicaid is concerned, if your mom and dad needed long-term care, right, $16,000 a month, they blew through all their savings, they had to sell their property, right? They still got the homestead and a car, right? They can still have that. Mom can have up to 150,000, right? Up to. Let's say that all that happened, right? Now they're going to come and they're going to say, as far as we're concerned, as far as Medicaid is concerned, mom and dad still have $200,000 in a checking account because they own 2/3 of your $300,000 house. And the fact that you the fact that you paid all the bills and managed and it was just to get the credit, nobody cares. They don't care about that. They're looking at the deed. Okay, it's very clear in the Bridges Eligibility Man, very clear. The ownership is assessed according to the recorded document. So you got a deed that says mom and dad own 2/3, mom and dad own 2/3. So 2/3 of the value goes to mom and dad, right? Which is not what you want, which is not what they want, which is not what anybody wants. But that's the way they're going to look at it. So what I'm saying is, let's get the 5-year deal going. If we don't make now, so that's the first thing. They're happy and healthy. Okay, great. If we make it to 5 years, pat ourselves on the back. We got away with it. We won one for the Gipper. Okay, phew, that was great. Okay, that's one scenario. The other one is, and this is pretty common actually, with people who call in and people come to the office, is dad just went into the nursing home and they want my house or they want my rental property or something like that. That's what we call a crisis case. And it looks like I got about a minute before the break. So I can't go into all the detail, but the idea is that if I have a married couple, right, I can move all of the assets of the married couple into a trust for the one who's still at home, the one who does not need care. So let's say dad needs care, right? So I can take the 2/3 that they think mom and dad own. I can take that and I can take mom and dad's property. And there's a trust I can immediately do for mom, okay, that takes it all off the table and qualify dad for benefits immediately. The problem is, what if mom needs care now? Okay, I mean, I've just shot my I shot my bolt. I mean, I'm out of ammo, and now I've got to give up most of it, but a little bit more than half at least, for mom's care. So what I'm saying is that in the situation you find yourself right now, right, you get the 5-year clock going, get it going as soon as possible. Okay. And then
Okay.
if the
Yep.
worst happens, there's other stuff we can do, but you're not there yet, thank God. Let's get as much time going as we can.